Hi traders, Jtrader here. As you know, I'm official mentor of Bookmap. I made a lesson with Bookmap on trying to explain what is the software, how we can use it, and why is the new edge for traders. A lot of professional traders are using Bookmap. For example, you will spot the volatility and liquidity in a different way. So we'll be talking in this video about heat map, absorption, stuffs, soaking, and dots. And it's a pretty clear strategy once you analyze how I trade. So enjoy the video. Remember, subscribe to Bookmap, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and put a like. Thank you very much.
Hello traders. So over here we'll understand how to use Bookmap to trade reversals. So we can have a look at BA. You see that we have a pretty extended pre-market from a support of 192. We have a resistance in pre-market of 205. Try to keep charts pretty simple. This is an open, and right away we have an instant wash in the first minutes from 206, and we go to test this main support of 198, and we break that support. So we have a fake breakdown over here, and then we start having a ascending triangle. As you can see, we have a formation of low, higher, low, higher, low, and this is ascending triangle. Right over here, we have buyers, so breakout, and you can see the increase of volume, then subsequent uptrend. So what happens at this level? What happens over here at 197, 198? Do we have anything that can lead us to take this trade long exactly at that level? This is what we have using Bookmap. So you see that the open at 205, we wash instantly, and this in the first 10 minutes reaches 198. We break down 198, and then we start this cup formation. And we want to look for the break of 205. And it starts rejecting. So we have a second rejection, and we don't get to the 205. We get over here 204. So we have these dots. These dots represent the prints, in this case, of buyers and sellers. And we have also these levels, orange levels. The darker the color, the stronger, represent the orders. For example, over here, we'll have resistance at 205. We have an important support at 200, and also another important support, 198. Once we form this high, then we don't go more to the previous low over here. So the buyers step in at this 200. You see this level. Once we have the dot touching the level over here, orange means we have right away here buyers. In this case, they bounce it. We have another higher low, so they retest that support 200, and now they start pushing. This is called soaking. Okay, so remember, when we have buyers at a certain support and we have sellers trying to sell but buyers are holding, is called soaking or absorbing. Now, always into this ascending triangle, we start having other higher lows, and at this level, so we complete the cup over here 205, we have finally the breakout. And you can see in this case the big cup pattern that we saw before on BA. So once we break over here, we see that we don't have any more a clear big resistance. The first heat map is the whole round dollar number. Often you will experience to find resistance and supports at the whole round dollar number. Once we break it, you see that we don't reject, but we simply break it. We then consolidate above with this formation. Okay, this is a consolidation. So you start seeing again another flag on that support, and then they represent over here the initial trend. Here we have a second example, always on Boeing, and we can see two main level of guidance. In this case, as you can see, we open at 223, which is this level over here. Immediately we start selling off, so we have this dip. And this dip that you can see over here, 219, look over here with Bookmap. So we have a first breakdown, and you can see we don't bounce. Again, we don't bounce. We break just below this level. And over here, we start having a first reversal. So once we break that support at 220, also again, you can see the 220 whole round dollar number, always you will see liquidity. We start reclaiming in the first 3 minutes, still like 932 over here based in Europe. And we start having buyers. Then we push again to this first level at 223, which is again the previous resistance, 223. And as we said before, we're looking for always those cup patterns over here. So again, they go retest 2 minutes later on another fake breakdown, the 220, and they start reclaiming. So again, this is the double bottom with a big reclaim of support, of resistance, 223, and they're looking for a breakout. As you can see over here, it's a straight breakout exactly at this level. And now they start pushing. Again, as we said before, when a trend is formed, always look for those higher lows, as we were looking in the ascending triangle in the previous example. Always look for high volume, so you want to see always buyers stepping in. In this case, we got a 225, another whole roundel number, exactly over here. So we start forming a low, higher low, and then this high, higher low, but lower high. So in this case, this is the first lower high that we're forming at 225, at 225. But we still hold this 224 level. And you can see over here, we have a small heat map, 224, it's holding. And what happens over here, that again, we start having another cup pattern. So we have a cup with 225.80 breakout, cup with 225.80 breakout. And then we continue to the upside. So we see a massive resistance, again, because it's a whole round dollar number, but this massive resistance over here, we're still in uptrend. We still have buyers, all right? We don't have a huge amount of sellers. In that moment, what I do, I start looking at the tape. Is the tape confirming? So is the time of sales over here all red? So we're gonna go for a reversal, or is the majority, so 3/4 of this tape green? And I don't see a big block of sellers. For example, big block could be a 510K share, 510K size of selling on BA. If I don't see that, if I see only retailers selling, if I still see that the core, so the main big hand size is still for the upside, I'm staying long. Over here, we have an example instead on a small cap. You can see over here Visa, so you can open multiple stocks at the same time, as well as futures. For stocks, you're going to use the XFeed, as you have Global Plus. You can use the special promo link just below in the description. And also you can use this for futures. So we have a stock called Visa, and I'm writing over here my intraday, I would say, plan, and also I'm showing always execution of the trade. So we have a support exactly 342, which is this level over here, traders. So we're talking about a stock that basically gapped up and then is bouncing from a support at 340, which is this level over here. So you can see already the buyers stepping in at 340. So we can decide to take a first long on this cup. Again, cup over here, formation. So it's exactly this level over here, cup formation. And you can see that we start pushing. Once we push, traders, it's pretty simple. We have to follow the main trend. We have to look for those higher lows, higher highs. And you can see that the stock is making low, higher low, and then over here still making a low, higher low, higher low, and higher low. You can use trend, and I always suggest you to use trend lines. It's very helpful, especially if you use Bookmap over here. So what happened? Where is the reversal? So the first reversal, we see it over here on this main support at 340. And then once we start pushing, so already over here, we're extending 50, 60 cents from the 340s to the 410, we start seeing a first level of sellers. This is the first level of sellers. So we have that 390, 392 over here level, actually 390, 395. And then we have a more bigger resistance over here. See that we have a color a little bit faded, deeper orange. So this means a stronger and a bigger amount of sellers. And over here at 410, 411, we have more sellers. So as you can see, once we touch the first level, 2 levels of resistance, we reject. And we see over here still buyers, right? You can see these dots being almost all blue. This represents the buyers. Then we have some sellers, but again, we're forming higher lows. And then over here, we reach to the top. So now you will think, oh, this is so difficult. I have to look at those dots. Not really, not necessarily. I mainly look at this level of support resistance, and I'm starting to look at the possible lower high formation. So we have a high. This is the first lower high over here. And then lower high is confirmed. Actually, this is also lower high, but this lower high over here confirms a trend line break and then a dump. So there you can see really reason to short. And you can see on our chart, the reason to short exactly that point. So technically, so looking at the execution, these trades were shared live in the room when we were trading with timestamps and on Discord and on Zoom. So you can see the first level of entry is basically traded this level of resistance. So when we saw that we couldn't break that high, we took the short, and then basically we stopped over here when it was trying to reclaim the previous high. And then we have another short when we're like having that breakdown of the trend line exactly over here. We're looking to short and we'll take the fade. This is the process on Tesla. So does Bookmap work good for both futures and stocks? Yes. And in stocks, does it work good for both small caps and big caps? Yes. As you know, I'm official mentor of Bookmap. We have a very great support. So if you need always help during the day, reach out to support. There are some amazing people over there. You will always feel like somebody is taking care of you. Over here, we have our number one. So we have a support into the $800 level. Again, remember what we said, when we see these whole round dollar numbers, we will often see support and resistance. Zone one, you can see that we have an open and instantly a wash. So we have a wash over here from 800 down to 797, 796, and then we reclaim. This is an instant under over. So if we analyze over here our first bar, you can just see a drop like this and a reclaim. But if we go instead and check what happens over here in Bookmap, so this pattern over here, you have this under over. So it means that we have sellers over here in the first part, but then we start having buyers over here, and sellers at this point are basically exhausted. So over here we have the breakout, reason to take the long. Again, we have to see where we have the majority of the dots. So what color they are? They are like blue or pink. And in this case, you can see that we have a huge amount of blue. Again, a huge amount of blue buyers over here. So it means that longs are in control. This is very easy because at a glance, right away, you recognize over here the direction and the bias. Once we reach at level 3, 810, again, whole roundel number, what we have? 1, a big dot, and then right away a rejection. This means soaking, okay? So we have soaking at 810, plus we have a big heat map. And this heat map, you can see, is a red color. So a big amount of selling pressure from over here. And right away, we shift from being the tape all blue over here, okay? So all dots blue to the pink dots. So sellers in control. Again, they try to prop it again, soaked again, this level, and then sellers in. But at this level, we start seeing still amount of buyers. Some heat maps holding, and then and again another curl up pattern. Now, what manipulates the market? The market is manipulated by market makers, big hands, and often you will see traps. What is a trap? Let's say that you want to make the price go up. Your intentions are to hold and sell at a higher price. What you're gonna do? you basically want to collect more shares. So you're going to make over here, stop out all the buyers. Okay, so breaking down on purpose of VWAP. So you will have like big hands absorbing, so buying their shares. And also you will have short sellers jumping in. Once we reclaim over here the VWAP, short sellers will stop out. And then we will have chasers, so buyers at higher levels. And these are generally retailers. So they will buy at higher levels what instead already big hands bought over here. So again, what can we say? That we have big hands absorbing or soaking the bid, so support. And then we have this being called bear trap, all right? And then we form another one over here at number 5. You can see another fake breakdown of this level. And then again, our cup pattern. So each time we have one of these trade the opposite direction. We have a cup pattern, then pushes. And like we had the first time at 810, the resistance, then we have another time over here, a resistance sold. This is a stop. So where's a stop? It's in the middle sell off after a breakout. Bull trap over here. So in this case, they trap the longs. So longs are buying this breakout exactly over here at 10. They cannot sustain over here the huge amount of sellers that instead are creating on purpose this breakout. So this is a face breakout. This is a wanted fake breakout. And so big hands are selling into the retailer buyers that are creating support on them. This is really how manipulation works. Small cap land. So over here we had a stock. The stock was closed below $7, and day after news comes out, and then we have a big push. So a little of explanation over here. Small caps, and listen very good, tend to have small to no revenues. So they're basically need to raise cash in order, for example, to continue their to pay their employees, to pay the CEO, to pay the directors, to continue maybe experimentation of drug, the product they're creating. And how can they do this if they have low revenues or negative net income and no, I would say very small revenues? They're basically gonna do an offering. Okay, so they're gonna do S1 or an S3, so shelf. F3 if it's a foreign company. They will put out warrants, so they have to be exercised. So they're gonna try to use a press release, as we see so many, for a pump and dump. So basically, when a company needs to raise cash badly and has like 1 or 2 months, and then they will run out of cash, and they have an offering. And you can see from already their previous moves, those gaps tend to fade on day 1 or day 2. Then there's a big chance to try to short the stock. Surely not short at any price, have always a system. And this is where we have the bias. So where we have the stock, history of failure by stats, we have dilution, and then we have also a chart. So few points over here that I would like to put out. So we can do like this. So we have small caps. We need 1, history of failure. 2, we need dilution. 3, we need a chart pattern. So in this case, order flow. And then you can create a forecast. So you can create a mechanical system where you will go to give a number of evaluation of in percentage if the trade is going to fade or is going, if the stock is going to fade or is going to run. For example, you will take into consideration if it has ATM or warrants, if it has no cash or low cash, if it has high accumulated deficit, if we have history of failure, if we have high institutional ownership or no institutional ownership, or very low institutional ownership, or high above 80%. So a lot of these things, even the short percent would float and so on. So you can reach out, or even better, take the one-on-one forecast webinar in SmallCapRoom, where I explain exactly how to do the forecast. So how to understand if to short or buy something. In this case, you can see the price action in the morning. We push. We have sellers over here at the high. So we know that at high prices over here on extensions, then we'll have sellers joining. Again, we have a secondary push. So you can see buyers this time, they're pushing over here, and you can see on our chart, buyers are stepping in. And then we have a big amount of buyers around 970, 980. So where we had basically the previous stop. And again, at the high, what we have over here, sellers. So we reached this 1020, exactly over here, 1020, we start seeing sellers. And a few seconds later, actually a few minutes later over here, we start seeing a first big seller at 990. You can see over here. So we have no big seller on the way up. So this is really created from the market makers. And then we have over here a big seller 990. By the way, about market maker, we just had today, I would say, a great webinar, 90 minutes with a few traders, also a former market maker in options, that he unveiled some secrets. And I really suggest for you traders to join the room, SmallCapRoom, Jtrader Co. And always watch these community webinars, which are very, very interesting. So you can see over here that we saw the big seller, and right away we take the first short. Took the first short over here, and then we saw this big support at 920. So reason to cover a little bit above. And then over here we have num1, reason to cover a little bit more over here, 9, then hold eventually the trade. So we can see two main phases of our stock. First, the pump, the buyers, no big sellers, okay? And over here on the chart is exactly this level. And then instead we have sellers join. Sellers are topping over here the stock, and sellers take control. Over here we can see exactly this. So first part of our chart, we see the huge amount of buyers, blue dots. Second part of the chart, we see the huge amount of sellers. So I can tell that a lot of professional traders, once they found Bookmap, their performance increased. So we teach Bookmap each day live in the room, and we have special webinars also on private one-on-one, where you can understand, and you basically will have an edge. You will understand how to day trade. So traders, as usual, if you like this webinar, subscribe to our YouTube channel, come to join us, put a like over here, share it. Thank you very much for following, and see you next time. Take care.